We all love to ride all year round, but you'll notice as you ride, the different seasons bring with them very different conditions. Left to its own devices, a trail can degrade over time. The more it gets ridden when the weather is wet and the moisture levels are high in the trail bed, the more damage we can do. It's quite easy to decide to ride somewhere else, bemoan the state of the trails, or just simply hang up our bike for the wet season. But there is another option. So this issue, the technique we're looking at, is not how to master the trail, but how to show that trail some love. Showing the trails that you love and giving them back some of that love, and hopefully that will reap dividends in your riding and for all the riders that also join you on those trails. It's a selfless task, it often goes unnoticed, the little works you can do. They're not techniques that you need loads and loads of experience to employ, and certainly you don't need lots of time either. In the time it takes you to put your winter garb on, load your bike up and get out to the trails, you probably could have put a section of trail into good order again. You might not see the smiling faces of those that go on there and ride it the next week, but you know that anyone that's riding that trail is going to get a benefit from the work you put in. You might not have loads of time on your hands, there might not be lots of you that want to get involved. So what we're going to look at is the little fixes, the stitch in time fixes that can make all the difference to the running of a trail. There are certain things that are common in a lot of trails as the trail gets more worn and as the water levels build up and moisture levels build up. And we're going to look at 3 of the most common fixes that you can go out and fix in literally a matter of minutes. There's a few things obviously you want to get in place before you head out to the trails and start fixing them up. Ideally we want to be making sure that the work we're doing is with the permission of the landowner and they've got the correct permissions in place. But assuming that that's the case, we'll look at what we can do. Here on the trails that we manage over in the Surrey Hills, we've got the landowner consent, all of the insurances are in place and we can get out there and fix what we like. But for you, where you ride, that situation might be different. And although you might feel that you're giving by going out and working on trails, you actually might be causing more friction with the landowner than the benefit that you are imparting on the trail itself. So get involved with the landowners, dialogue is important, and once you've got that dialogue going, show them the value that volunteers can add and how they can actually help protect a landscape rather than see trails creep, expand and get beaten up. There's a range of tools that you can employ for your trail building, your hand build trail, and we're going to take a quick look at those and you'll quickly develop a favourite that you work best with. Some can do more than one task, some are very specific to the task in hand. Mattock, very useful tool for scraping away at the trail surface, deberming, taking the edge out of trails, chopping through roots if it's sharp enough, if necessary, and a very versatile tool which can have a lot of uses. If you're lucky enough to, you might be able to get your hands on a trail specific tool, something like this, known as a McLeod. It's got 3 basic functions. We've got an edge, which is good for scraping and cutting. We've got a raking edge, which is good for moving stuff around and shaping things. And then the flat edge can be used for compaction. So good for packing down trails once we've done a little bit of work. Ideally what we're going to look at doing is disturbing the trail bed as little as possible. The more we disturb, the more we've got to pack down. And even once you've packed it down with one of these, if it's ridden in wet conditions soon afterwards, it's going to start tearing up quicker than it would if we can get a whacker plate on it or something a bit more heavy duty. These are good tools if you're only carrying one tool. Bit of a jack of all trades in some respects, so sometimes you might want a more specific tool for a specific job. Aside from that, we might want a shovel for moving material, and again the flat back of the shovel can be very useful for compacting and shaping. And my old favourite, just a very sturdy but small light spade. This one's got a nice steel shaft, nice sharp front edge, nice flat back, and can be used for a range of tasks. We don't want to be digging down into the trail particularly much and digging big holes, but there might be a need to borrow pit a little bit of material from an area alongside the trail or close to the trail, and the back edge is good for shaping and smacking. So yeah, a really versatile tool. If you're heading out for a little play, you don't want to load up with all these tools or go to the expense. Get yourself a good quality spade and that will cover a lot of the tasks we're going to look at today. Important when you're selecting your tool, it's very easy to nip into the old garden shed, pick up your dad or your granddad's old spade. Nice wooden shaft, been around since the dawn of time. First couple of whacks on the back of that spade, you're probably going to snap it in half. So something nice and sturdy that's going to be fit for the job. I'm going to leave these other tools in the van for now just to show you how much action and how much benefit you can put into a trail just with one simple tool and a short period of time. matched with, of course, a little bit more knowledge. As well as the right tools, it's important to be dressed appropriately and carry a few little bits and pieces of personal equipment that might be useful. Sturdy pair of boots, preferably to steel toe capped. Pair of old riding gloves will do for protecting the hands, and obviously dress for the weather. You're going to be out there for a little bit of time, and it's all one thing carrying out hard labour, but it's quite another thing doing it when you're sopping wet and soaked to the skin. So an old pair of riding gloves, sturdy pair of boots, bit of waterproof protection, we're ready to roll, go and hit those trails and see what love we can give them.